This episode of the Party Loaded podcast is proudly sponsored by Audible.com. Check out their awesome catalogue of audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from. And be sure to grab a free audiobook on us and support the show by visiting audibletrial.com/endgame.
Let's party.
Welcome, good evening, and this is Party Loaded, episode 9 for Tuesday the 19th of January. My name's Luke Olly, and I'm here with a bunch of people, as per usual, to chat about all things video gaming. So, up tonight, first and foremost, we have Jam. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm braving the Armageddon-level storms outside and plugging all of our electrical gear in to record a podcast anyway. Hopefully it doesn't fry us and drop out.
I know, it's weathery.
That would be an amazing obituary, though, to be fair.
What?
How did he die? Electrocuted during podcasting.
That would be
So
pretty
specific.
interesting. Yeah.
It's weathery.
Not exactly how I
It
want
is
to go.
weathery.
It
wasn't
is,
inaccurate. I know. Therefore, I'm not wrong.
that is an extinction level mic drop, to be sure. That is, of course, Ollie. How are you, man?
Hello. This is my last time in this house, probably, that I'll be recording.
There you go.
Ooh.
Nice. So,
I'll be in a swanky new place next week.
So how swanky are we talking? Are we talking velvet-lined walls and chandeliers, or are we talking something else entirely?
No, just a strict upgrade to an actual house.
Cool. Nice. And we have Imogen. How are you?
I am good.
Nice.
Hello, everybody.
Cool. And yeah, we've got lots of stuff to talk about, lots of games as per usual. Let's not dispense with the pleasantries and, or I should say, let's dispense with
There was
the
never any.
Yeah, what?
and dive right in. All right, Jam, you are up first this week in the hot seat. What
Nice.
have you been playing?
I have been playing things and stuff. Not as much as I'd hoped, again, sadly, real life. But I got in a smidge of Secret World. Our groups ran through a couple of dungeons. One of them we did the 5-man as a 3-man, but only because someone was much, much higher level. It was good fun. It was good fun. We're starting to get the loots. That's going to help us out later.
How big's the Secret World posse now in terms of number of peeps?
It's still relatively small, although I think we have 2 or 3 who have it installed now. Am I correct?
Yeah.
You're going to be joining us soon?
Well, thanks to you offering me a no strings attached key to the game, I did in fact install it and then hovered that needle over my arm and didn't plunge it in just yet. So
I know, we've just been enabling everybody.
not from lack of trying on Jam's part, that's for frickin' sure.
Yeah, well, there was an amazing sale on last week. For $20 American, roughly, you could get the base game plus the first 10 or 11 DLCs, and then once you've registered that, Funcom sent through a code for a free base game. Mm-hmm. So that bit cost me nothing, and a few of us picked that up. So suddenly we're all like, who wants to play? Who wants to play? Come join us. It was really good. So we've really, got to queue up a time to all play together and help you smash through some of that early game stuff.
Yep.
It's good fun.
I've got a couple of things to get off the plate first, and then I'll probably dive in and have a look around. So
Excellent. And I played maybe a little 10 minutes of Crypt of the Necrodancer, which is our monthly thing. Mm-hmm. So that's funny. I downloaded Pandemic, the board game app, on my iPad because over the weekend we started our Pandemic Legacy campaign.
Yep.
Which is super fun. And I hadn't played it before and I wanted a little bit of experience. The app does it really well. A lot of stuff's automated for you so that you don't have to think too hard. It was much more difficult in real life, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little, but we're doing okay.
We're doing amazingly well, considering that game is built to troll the shit out of you.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting such sweeping changes early on in Pandemic Legacy.
No.
That's incredible.
I think, Pandemic, I've actually had a look at the app now as well, and it's a really, really good example of a board game app for for video platforms done right, I think. And I think it's definitely something we're going to have to do in the future is maybe do an episode on, apps to recreate the board game experience in digital form. That would be a really interesting discussion topic because there's a few good ones out there.
Yeah, I was going to say, there is a few that just come to mind sort of immediately, really.
Yep.
Games we play at PAX.
Yeah.
Those good
all the Q games.
Yeah, Q games.
Yeah.
The other thing a few of us, managed to do this week, unfortunately not you, Luke, was jump onto GTA. And we had amazing shenanigans messing around with the giant yacht that I bought in game.
So many shenanigans.
Oh, my goodness. We were flying and trying to land Titans and jets onto the yacht. It didn't end well.
No, I think I was the most successful. I had most of the plane remaining on the deck.
Yeah.
At the end.
Made it much more difficult for the following planes.
Yeah. And trying to get them all off by using grenades and rocket launchers was super fun.
So
I know.
I was meaning to ask you about that. You know how you've got your anti-aircraft measures on your yacht to sort of prevent interlopers from coming in and trying to do, mischief to you. Can you actually turn those off and invite people on? You can.
I can also set that to exclude friends.
Okay.
So there was one particular point where I, may have changed that setting to get someone. Was that Ari?
While we were in the air?
Oh, did I get all of you in the end? Because that was fun for me.
No, you didn't get me.
There was a couple of times where I just disintegrated.
Can you change it while
I was
people are
just standing on deck trying to watch and film and
I was going to say, can you change it while they're actually on your deck? Or
can I what, sorry?
Can you change it while they're on your deck? And
well, it's anti-aircraft missiles, so it's only people in planes that it targets.
So it's not like a machine gun mount that just sort of turns around and obliterates someone. Okay. Yeah.
That being said,
heinous.
It does peel you if you're parachuting in, as I found out.
Well, I guess it's anti-air. You're still in the air. It was pretty hilarious. The falling.
We went to all the trouble of breaking into the military base and stealing jets, only to me to get about maybe a mile away from your yacht and accidentally crash into the sea. So
that was good.
Shit.
I was just, because the yacht itself comes with a fancy helicopter, so I was just ferrying people whenever they crashed and burned from the beach back to the airport to pick up new planes.
Oh, you're such a good Samaritan. You shoot them down and then you help them back.
I didn't shoot them down. The Aussie guy on my ship,
it's an automated process.
Yeah, and the Aussie voiceover, whenever it's activated and deactivated, it's hilarious.
He's the worst.
It's fabulous.
So cringeworthy.
Your defences have been activated. It's such bad Aussie accent. I love it. I was just flicking it back and forth every time. And I can make the horn sound on the yacht too. So these guys were parachuting at one point in heavy fog, so I just kept, It was good fun. It was just for, a silly hour of mucking around. Miss GTA.
Is good value. Always.
Yeah. Nice. And the only other game I've played in the last week is in the last hour and a half. I picked up Armello because Imogen and another friend were playing it, and I thought, okay, sure, just jump straight into a game knowing nothing, and it's awesome. I still know so little, though.
Good.
I don't think we've talked about this one on the show before, so maybe we should just give a brief overview. What is
All right.
Well, Ollie actually was doing a better job of explaining it earlier, so you'll have to back me up, Ollie. But Armello is like a hexagonal field, and effectively you're multiplayer, and there's 4 different ways to win. You've all versus the king and each other, and you take turns moving around the board, collecting different resources, depending on how you want to win the game. It's all turn-based strategy, I guess, is the best way to describe it. And it includes, you can win by prestige, by being the most well-known, by fighting and winning things and doing great tasks. Mm-hmm. You can win by being rotten in yourself, which is what is wrong with the king. You can win just by fighting and defeating the king, and you can also win by curing the king of the rot. It's really great. It's a game that I've heard a lot about. I originally heard about it from Microholic from Penny Arcade some time ago, and was pleasantly surprised when I bought it in the Steam sale to find out that it is Australian made.
Oh, nice.
So Film Victoria funded and a bunch of other stuff, and it's so well done. The artwork's great. They do really well at crediting all the artists as well in the game. It's lots of fun, and I've only just started playing it as well. I've played a whole bunch against AI, and today was my first sort of foray into other people, and it was so much fun.
Is it PC only? What platforms can you play it on?
PC, I believe it's iOS as well. I don't know if it's Android.
Okay.
Someone will have to confirm that for me, but I do know that it's on iPad. But it was fun on the PC because we logged into Mumble. So you can do your shit talking to each other. Oh, really? You're going to go over there? And so.
Does it support cross-platform
It's kind of like,
play?
it's chess crossed with like
Adventuring.
Civ.
Yeah.
It's so cute. It's gorgeous. And I jumped in knowing absolutely nothing and picked up some stuff pretty quickly. I mean, they were helping me out, but there's still more to learn, and I'm very keen to play some more.
So I was just asking, does it support cross-platform play? Can you play iPad versus PC?
Ooh, don't know on that
Doubt
one.
it.
Ooh, if it does, that would be super, super cool. How many players is the max?
4.
Like 4?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, interesting. Well, this is
So not great if everybody picks it up in our group, then that's going to be bad because then we've got another Heroes of the Storm situation.
It's on PS4, Android, iOS, Windows, Linux, and Mac.
Okay, that's a fair list. And how long's the average game? An hour or so?
It really depends on how long
very
each
variable.
person takes. Yeah,
I have
very
not finished
variable.
the game yet.
So each time you get a turn, and you are limited in time, but if everyone took a really long time, it could be a very long game, depending on how you challenge the king and if you cure him and et cetera, et cetera. So we tried to play. Unfortunately, the person we were playing with dropped out multiple times, so we restarted, and it just makes us want to play more. We did literally tear ourselves away from that game to do the podcast.
Oh, it's time to record. I'll get off.
Isn't there a pause and resume game function, or is it literally real time where if you disconnect, that's it, sort of thing?
Depends if it's multiplayer or single player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think if you were playing by yourself, you could pause it. Yeah.
But not if there's a bunch of people that have to reconnect.
No.
That's a shame.
Yeah, so that's been my week up until about 40 minutes ago.
All right. Well, Imogen, besides Armello, what have you been doing?
Well, of course, Heroes of the Storm did feature. We played some games against real people, and it was lots of fun and lessons learned. It's something that has sort of come up that we play a lot against the computer, and we're at a fairly high level at the computer, and we can handle ourselves fairly well with the right combo of characters. So I jumped on and was sort of playing games with people and against people, and then some people joined me, and it is difficult. It is the difference between so when you play against the computer will always spread itself out along the 3 lanes. So there'll be at least one person in every lane. When you play against every single game I played against people, there was one lane that if you were in it, there was no one there. So, and then I learned more about the mechanics of the early kill and getting first blood and boost XP and all of the stuff that we just didn't really focus on when we were versing the computer. We didn't win any from memory. I don't know. I can't remember. I apologize to the people I played with if we did get a win. But it didn't feel like we won. It felt like even if we did win, we did some stupid stuff. And
had moral wins.
Yeah, but we learned a lot. So, learning experience. And now there's even chat about us eventually at some point this year joining the Australia-New Zealand League to see how we go, which
would be so funny.
If you're gonna suck, you might as well do it on a grand stage, hey?
Yeah, we might accidentally win and get points.
Ever.
Yeah. That'd be good.
Yeah, Ollie will just be there with his popcorn.
Oh, yeah. I was watching, just going, yes.
Just log into Mumble and hear us yell at each other. One person did say, if we lose this game, we shouldn't lose this game. We should definitely win this game, given the characters that we were versing. And we were a team that we could communicate with each other, and they were a team of randoms who were paired together who only have sort of typing to communicate. And was, if we don't win this game, we are so shit. And we lost. We lost spectacularly.
So 30 seconds later.
Yeah.
30 seconds later, regretting that threat. So experiences, but it was fun, and it makes me want to play more and practice more and all those types of things. Other than that, I finally completed episode 1 of Tales from the Borderlands. Still not enjoying that. And oh my goodness, was that first episode just super long?
I'm honestly
or did it
surprised.
Feel that long?
Okay.
I'm just not into it. I don't know. It's difficult as well. Like I said, I'm playing it mostly because a lot of the voice actors in it are people who I know and follow in other things. So I'll continue to play it because I bought the whole thing.
Aw.
Regret.
And maybe it was just bad timing for me to start it when I did, when I was busy and traveling and everything else. So
Possibly.
we'll
I'm wondering if part of the experience has been tainted for you because of how much I talked the shit up out of it.
Well, the thing is, like, I really enjoyed the Game of Thrones one, but I'm a big Game of Thrones fan. I really enjoyed the Minecraft one, and I'm a Minecraft fan playing with you guys, but, I didn't, I have no special attachment to those characters, but I got sucked into that. Like, episode 1, I was like, yes, I want to play this. This is fun. But I'm not feeling that. It's sort of like when you watch a movie and you know from the beginning that it's just going to annoy you. Like, just the plot line of the whole thing, it all seems so hopeless and they're all screwed, and I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to play it. It's one of those things. I'm resolved to finish games this year.
You just described Game of Thrones, but sure.
But I've only played episode 1 of the Game of Thrones once as well, because it took so long to release them all.
Yeah, because that's my least favourite out of all of the Telltale series, I think. So, yeah.
And maybe it's the nostalgia of Game of Thrones that's pulling me through, or at least making me want to finish that at some stage.
Well, it's funny, like with the staged release of the Game of Thrones game, I didn't actually think that Telltale were doing anything too bad because they were still releasing them a lot quicker than George R. R. Martin writes his books. So, hey.
Don't bring it up, man. It's still fresh.
Every time a fan mentions that, Luke, another
Stark
dies.
Yeah.
Another Stark dies, yes.
Yeah.
But
there's not many left.
But you see, Ollie, this is like, what happens to me every New Year's. Like, my mother always gives me a Christmas cake, okay? And that Christmas cake is basically the last frontier between me and healthy eating again. And to get to that healthy eating zone, I need to eat the whole damn Christmas cake by myself. Same sort of thing with Game of Thrones. If you keep mentioning Starks and all the Starks die, and then all of a sudden all the Starks are dead, then he can't threaten to kill any more Starks. So you just get through it
Holy shit.
and do it.
What? You want to just get it over with, do you?
It's horrible.
So let's kill all the Starks, and then we get to a healthy relationship
So
with Game
when
of
Luke
Thrones.
gets put in the hospital with diabetes, we now know why. It's R. R. Martin's fault.
That's right. Damn it.
That was such a reach.
Anyway, you were saying.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And, of course, I played GTA, which is just bucket loads of fun. Every time we play, I always end up playing that game way later than I should. But it was good. It was good. How about you, Ollie?
Yeah, I played GTA. I was the guy on Urban Dictionary. It was great.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Oh, the conversations. Oh,
worst.
It's good times.
I didn't want to learn those things.
I can't unlearn.
I think I have. I think I've blocked it. I just remember it was awful.
Dare I ask?
I remember all five.
No, don't ask.
Probably not.
Ollie brought up one word and then everyone was like, I wonder what that means. And people started looking up an Urban Dictionary and then they found other things in Urban Dictionary. Oh, have you heard of this? And so Ollie and Ari and Bruce were just trying to outdo each other in horribleness.
Okay.
It was the worst.
Whilst landing planes on a yacht.
Right.
Yeah, it was to pass the time while we were getting Titans, yeah.
Well, Jamie was ferrying us back and forth.
Is that a euphemism too, or no?
No.
Okay, anyway, go on.
Anyway, I tried a new game today called Tharsis. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of that one or
I
not.
have. It involves space and cannibalism, for what I understand.
What?
I tried to avoid the latter. You can't avoid the former.
Cool.
So yeah, you're on a mission to Mars, and you're in one of the larger sort of manned missions to it sort of thing, and you're like the Pioneer expedition, and it's very much following that trend of computer games that would make good board games, as in they use board game mechanics just on a computer.
Yeah, like
and they use
dice
the
rolls
PC.
and RNG on this one, isn't there?
Say it again?
There's dice rolls and random number generator sort of mechanics on this one. Yeah.
Yeah, very similar to Armello in that regard. And the whole point is you have different things that go wrong on your ship. So like the power might go out or a module will blow or whatever. And you're managing your resources as far as your crew, their mental state, their health, that sort of thing. And you're managing their skills and how they apply to different situations. And say, for example, your situation, you need dice to solve certain situations, whether that be a total number or a certain number. So you might need like 2 3s, so you might need a 1 and a 4, or you might just need a total of, say, 5. So the dice interact with that in various ways. So, and each crewman gets a certain number of dice for different skills and whatnot in different scenarios. And you can have different perks that will allow you to have more dice or modify dice. And as a tabletop gamer, Luke, you'll appreciate this. The dice can at times completely fuck you.
Yep.
So you could be like, oh, I've got 3 dice and I need any one of them to be a greater than a 2. There's 3 1s. My ship just got torn in half. Awesome.
At least it's accurate. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. So that was interesting fun. I like those sort of games, so I'll be trying that one again. I watched the season 1 and 2 of Rick and Morty, and then downloaded the Rick and Morty game Pocket Mortys, and that is great fun. You'd actually probably like it a lot, Luke, because you're a Pokemon fan.
Oh, okay.
It looks hilarious.
It is. I'm actually really glad I watched the show before I downloaded it. Otherwise, half the references make no sense.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. So it basically is a strict ripoff of Pokemon set in the Rick and Morty universe, and it is glorious.
That sounds fantastic.
It is quite good. And so rather than Pokemon, you have Rick's little sidekicks Mortys, and you're collecting Mortys instead of Pokemon.
Okay.
But the battling mechanics, the capturing mechanics are all very, very similar. Even the main screen is very similar to Pokemon. And that's not a negative if formula works, so why not?
Yep, that's right.
It ain't broke.
Exactly. And yes, even though I'm moving house, I've actually gotten a shitload of gaming in. So I've also tried some Gmod Murder again for the first time in a while. Now, have any of you guys played Gary's Mod Murder before?
Oh, yeah.
No?
I have actually not played Gary's Mod full stop, so yeah.
Okay. So Gary's Mod Murder is you have various maps, and in those maps you have the players. One of those players is a murderer with a knife. Another player is like a, not detective, but someone that's above reproach, and they have a gun, and that is a single shot gun that will instantly kill anyone it shoots. And likewise, the murderer has a knife that will instantly kill anyone it hits. And everyone else is bystanders. So they're just sheep to the slaughter unless they can collect enough collectibles to get a gun as well. And you're trying to figure out who the murderer is and kill them with the guy with the gun before that murderer goes around and kills everybody. And it is very, very good fun. I've never played it with randoms before. I've only ever played it with friends. And this is my first time playing it with randoms. And it worked surprisingly well. I was actually genuinely impressed by how well it worked. So
how do you communicate?
Voice chat.
Oh, okay.
In day and age, most people have microphones on their headsets.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I've always played on Mumble with friends. I didn't know Gary's Mod supported the voice chat function. That's cool.
This sounds a lot like a game that we all need to play with the group at large.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gary's Mod Murder and Trouble in Terrorist Town, or just even vanilla Gmod would be great for our group.
Yeah. I want to do the prop hunt one real bad.
Oh, yeah, prop hunt, of course. How could I forget prop hunt?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
you've got to
that
get
was
the assets, Imogen.
Oh,
So we
God,
can
that
play.
was so painful. Oh, my God. That was the worst. I have to figure that out.
What, no one else
CSS.
is wading through fields of pink and black errors?
Well, that's when I
Mine's
started,
running.
and Jamie's like, right, so you're in here. I'm like, all I see is pink and black. This is probably not right.
And then, because Penny Arcade posted a comic up about a game called That Dragon Cancer, and because I am a cynical prick, I went, okay, let's see how bad this game really is. And yeah, I got emotionally dick punched for 2 hours with that game. It's like, what the hell? Like, it's not, how do I phrase this? It is not, by my definition, a good game. It is a good story, if that makes sense.
Well, it's supposed to be a narrative story,
Yes.
as opposed to really a game.
Yeah, it definitely falls into the interactive movie or interactive story category of games like Beyond Two Souls, Until Dawn, that sort of thing.
Yep.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that category of games. So I went in not knowing bupkis about it apart from it involves cancer of some description. That's all I knew. So yeah, that game, I don't know if because I've always had a very medically inclined background as far as university and parents and siblings and whatnot. So a lot of the realities of cancer are known to me. But yeah, they definitely told the story of this couple's experience with cancer very well. Like the storytelling in it was done very, very well and very, very stylistically. Yeah, that's a word. I'll use that. It had a good style to it. So they deliberately left a lot of characters' faces blank or very ambiguous, so you can project your own faces on it, that sort of thing. And they didn't hold anything back as far as they didn't pull any punches in regards to how cancer goes down and how horrific cancer treatment is. And yeah, there is one scene in particular that really got me, and I was like, "Whoa, that's really grim and dark, even by my standards." Good Lord. Have you finished the game, Luke?
No, I'm about an hour and a half in, but I suspect that I'm probably not as far as you would have been at that time because I've taken a lot of extra time to explore and interact with just about everything I possibly could. So,
have you had the one where he's just had chemo and he's in the crib?
Yeah, I think I have. Yep.
Yeah, that scene.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
The juice box. Yeah, that one for me, I was like, oh, just the sound. Because I know that's the other thing you have to remember. With this game, all of it is real and all of the things in that game happen, which is what makes it so much more horrific. Because a lot of games you go, yeah, that's fine. I mowed down a person. I shot them in the head. Haha, whatever. Or I'm jumping out of planes or I'm flying spaceships. No, this deals with a lot of real world scenarios. And yeah, that really brings home or increases the gravity of situations a lot. And yeah, thankfully I have never had to deal with cancer in my family, nor do I have children, but good Lord, I pity anyone that plays this game that has either of those. Because I can see this game emotionally wrecking people. So yeah, that was how I finished off my fun week. Yay! It was super great.
Nice.
Wow.
Well, I'll kick off talking about that Dragon Cancer as well because obviously I played it too. I think
that somber tone.
Yeah. Like you and I approach this game in really different ways, and I think a big part of that is kind of because of our level of exposure to cancer on a personal level.
Almost like we're different people.
Yeah. It's funny that, but one of the things that you said during the week kind of resonated with me, and I think that this is potentially one way you could approach this game, and that's you can just kind of go in with complete sociopath mode engaged and try and just let it be water off a duck's back as much as possible, and kind of just get through it like that. I have had quite a bit of stuff to do with cancer in my life. I lost my dad to cancer a few years ago. He was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer, even though he'd never smoked a day in his life, and unfortunately passed away just under a year later. And that was pretty heavy toll on our family, and it's left a lasting impression on my life and everybody else who knew him. And it's specific to this game. We actually had a couple of friends of the family who were the guy was actually a colleague of my wife's, and they had a young child who was diagnosed with cancer, roughly the same age that the character in this game was, like literally about a year after being born, and he actually managed to beat it, in the short term, and it hasn't sort of returned yet. But the impact it had on the child in terms of like developmental delays and all that kind of thing was a massive, massive impact. And things were pretty hectic for a while there. It was looking like it would have gone all very, very differently. And just looking at what they dealt with as a couple and as a family was pretty harrowing. And at that time, we had kids of our own, and we're kind of looking through it as you do, through the lens of what if this was us? And it just scares the hell out of you. It really does, because you just can't anticipate that kind of thing happening, and you have to just be thankful for everything you have, when it's not you. But like I, with all this sort of in the back of my mind, I saw this game and I thought, a lot of other people who might be in a similar boat or have had even closer contact with people in their family or loved ones suffering cancer would probably look at this and go, no, it's not for me. I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. It's going to be too much. I don't want to deal with it. Now, I almost looked at it as, because I do have that connection, I feel like this is almost a game that I have to play. Like I feel like I need to see this couple's interpretation of what happened in their life, because it felt to me like a piece of art that had been created, and I really wanted to appreciate that piece of art. Like I didn't want to sort of be scared away from it, because I thought that it would almost be like doing a disservice to the amount of effort and the bravery that they put in creating the thing, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I literally went into the thing with, my entire soul exposed, expecting to, let it affect me as deeply as it possibly could, because I thought that would actually be doing, justice to the experience. And, it was definitely true.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Yeah, no, not at all. Like, the things that I really appreciate about this game, and I think you're right in saying that it's not a game in the traditional sense. It's almost like they've taken an experience And rather than trying to retell that experience in your, typical mediums using, film or just an audio recap or, a written
Or whatever, yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's almost like this is the best way to retell it because this is the only way that you can really put enough stimuli into each of these sort of retold experiences to allow people to really kind of feel it more from the eyes of the couple that were involved in this.
Well, that's why it exists.
Exactly,
Because
yeah.
the guy who created the game, it's his son.
Yeah.
So he created this because he didn't believe there was a medium that he could have had that would have helped him cope with it. And so he works in the industry. I believe he might even be a developer himself. And so he thought this is important and this will reach a lot of people who don't have access to maybe therapy and other sorts of coping methods. So it's helping. He wanted to share his story so that he would support people to make them realize, the things that you feel are echoed in other stories and, this is what people go through and sort of putting a human face on it really, which is ironic since none of the characters in it actually have a face.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, one of the things that you just said, Ollie, as well, was something I really took away from this too, is the fact that all the characters in this game actually were faceless allows you to project yourself and your own experiences onto them. And that was just one of the most awesome creative design choices, I thought. Really, really clever. But Amy and Ryan Green, who are the two co-creators of this game, their son, Joel, who was diagnosed with terminal cancer around 12 months of age, and he actually ended up surviving for another 4 years until he sadly passed away. This was basically, this game was in development during that entire period, and they kind of changed scope a little bit after their son passed, and they changed aspects of what they were creating to make it a bit of a like a tribute as well, which I think, it's a really touching way to do that. But I just got to say, this game is the reason why I'm so freaking passionate about gaming in general. Being able to create like an exploratory journey within the framework of a game like this to communicate something so powerful a message as this couple's experience, with something that's a pretty real life, really serious thing. And you see other games like this around the place, like Depression Quest is a good example. There's a lot of works that, Jane McGonigal has been involved in, sort of, creating different games for people getting over real life sort of situations that are quite serious. This sort of stuff is just awesome to the nth degree. It's not just about, mindless entertainment. It's about actually making, and creating things that mean something to people's lives. And I freaking love it. So, so far, I'm only about, probably about halfway into this, and I am finding it one of the most difficult games that I've played to date purely because of the subject matter, but I'm appreciating every little bit of it, and there's been some really fantastic things that I've discovered just taking the time to explore in this world. So, the sounds are amazing just as you're navigating the halls of the hospital. And you can actually hear the sounds of like doctors and nurses sort of going about their business and typing on computers and opening and closing doors and all that sort of thing. And it gives this palpable air of the environment without actually seeing any of that stuff. You're kind of putting yourself in that world without sort of seeing everything literally. It's just, that experience that you're in. There's one particular scene that I've actually just sort of gotten through, which was just crazy detailed to me. You actually go through the halls of the hospital, and there's a whole bunch of cards that have been sort of left around, which are like, well wishes or condolences or, just messages to various different families in the hospital that have got cancer patients. And it just blew me away. Like, you start off in a room and there's about a dozen of them, and then you step outside the room and there's literally over 100 of these cards. And I was just like, oh my God, this can't possibly be part of the game where you can interact with every single one. But it was. You could actually go down the halls and you could open and read every single one of these cards. And you know what? I fucking did. So I literally took the time and went through and read every single one of them. And I just felt like I had to. I just thought, I've started now. I just have to go through and see everything that this environment has to offer. And one that I discovered, which is, I don't know if it was hidden as a little bit of an Easter egg or not, which I sort of tweeted you guys a picture of before, was actually a card that was written about John Bain, aka Total Biscuit. So he has, recently last year been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and he doesn't know know how long he's got or whether he's going to be able to beat it or for quite some time or not. He's sort of handled that situation himself with a lot of grace and continued doing what he does and supporting consumers in the video game industry and being an advocate for that. And it was just really nice to see a little tribute in there to that. It just kind of made the whole thing a bit more real and a bit more touching and relevant, and it, just made me love it even more. So great game so far. I'm really looking forward to finishing it, and it's kind of like a mixed feeling. I'm really looking forward to completing the journey, if you like. So as difficult as that may be, and as not so fun as some of the subject matter might be, I think I'll feel a sense of satisfaction sort of getting through, and I definitely appreciate the work that they've done. Absolutely. It's pretty amazing. So I just think it's the way that you approach it. It's not for everybody, but people who think that they can get through it and have a crack at experiencing the great work that they've done to recreate that journey, I definitely recommend it. I think it's a really excellent piece of work. So
should probably warm up with some Schindler's List or Sophie's Choice beforehand just to get into the real mood for it.
Dude, wow.
Read My Sister's Keeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so other stuff I've been playing on a slightly loaded note this week. Getting in my weekly dose of Hearthstone has been fun, and I've been swinging like a really hard pendulum on that, where I'll have a really good day and I'll chain a whole bunch of wins and climb a whole bunch of ranks, and then I'll lose 7 straight and go right back down again. So got a bit of a love-hate relationship with that at the moment. The fun thing about this month has been that I'm actually trying out 2 decks that I've never played before that traditionally I've been quite bad at, which is the Shaman and the Warlock, and I'm actually having a fair bit of success with both of them, so that's a nice change, so that's good fun. I've played a bit more of Life is Strange, so I've completed episode 2 of that now. Episode 2 is pretty full on, so Jamie, have you gotten that far yet?
No, I'm up to episode 2.
You're up to
That's what
episode 2?
I forgot to get this game. I was actually going to get it.
You need to. So, the thing I explained last episode about the whole time travel mechanic in this game, where you can rewind actions that you've completed and that sort of thing? Yeah, so one of the most important ways to use that throughout the game, of course, is when someone, one of the characters is in mortal danger, and you can actually rewind time and save them effectively. There's... Jamie, this is a minor spoiler, but I have a feeling that it won't matter anyway, because...
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah,
Just block my ears.
Block your ears for a
la,
sec
la.
if you like. There is one point in episode 2 where you're faced with that kind of situation and you can't use your power. So you literally have to choose the right actions and not screw it up, or somebody is going to die. And the first time I went through it, well, the first and only time I went through it, I thought that this was actually supposed to happen. Like, I thought this character was supposed to die. And then at the end of the episode, where you get a summary of all your actions and things that could have happened, I realized that, no, that's actually not the case. I could have saved this person.
I can just imagine you just sitting there just going, motherfucker.
Yep. Basically. Yeah. But to be fair, I had actually been warned by a friend of ours, Justin, that was actually going to happen, and I'd forgotten about it. And got past that, and I was like, "Oh, damn it! That's what he was talking about." So, and I'm kind of glad I forgot it, because that way, I've ignored the spoiler effectively. But it was good.
Just pass it on to me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I've got no idea how that's going to play out for you, Jamie. You may or may not make the right choices.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to...
The way that scene plays out also is massively altered by other decisions you've made up until that point. So the way that you experience it will probably be vastly different to the way I did. So
wow. So maybe I've already doomed whoever it is.
Maybe, or maybe you've
Person's probably already dead.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, very, very cool. That was definitely the highlight of the episode. I think that's going to have some lasting impacts to what happens after that as well. So pretty cool. The other game that I have played, last night I was fortunate enough to get invited out by a friend to a bit of a private VR tech demo, and of the stuff that I got to play around with, got to check out a couple of things on the Oculus Developers Kit too, and one game I hadn't seen before, which is actually made by the creators of Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. So this game is called I Expect You to Die, which is named... after basically that famous scene in the James Bond movie Goldfinger, where, do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. So it's basically a test game that was made for Oculus Rift and done prior to Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. And it's a virtual reality puzzle game that basically lets you take on the role of a secret agent, and you're trying to basically steal a car from a supervillain off of a giant cargo jet that's in flight. Okay, so you start off actually sitting in this car, and you have to try and puzzle out a way to get this car off the plane without dying, effectively, because there's a whole bunch of traps that are there designed to stop you from doing that. So basically, some of the things that you can do in this car environment, because you're sort of sitting in the driver's seat, is you can look around and find things hidden in the seat pockets, in the glove compartment, on the ground. The thing that you'd think of first to do, which is to try and start the engine of the car and drive it off the back of the plane. When you flip the visor sort of above your head, where normally you'd find keys stashed, you actually do find the keys, but there's a little robotic device there that scans your eye to see if you're actually supposed to be in the car. It's like a security scanner, and when it notices that you're not supposed to be there, you're an intruder, it actually tries to fire a laser at you, and you literally have to duck and weave as it tries to laser you out of the seat. So
That's amazing. Cool.
it's freaking awesome. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of things you have to do to try and sort of get out of the car. There's a bomb that you locate which arms, and you have to try and disarm that. There's poison gas if you wind down the windows. There's various different sort of super spy type tech built into the car as well. So you can, there's like a cannon and a parachute and stuff you can deploy and all that sort of thing. So if you puzzle it out, it's pretty cool. So I won't spoil the solution for anyone who may at some point play that in the future, but it's very, very awesome. And it's probably one of the earliest VR demos that was done, but no less cool as a result of it. So, and that was pretty much my week. So, yeah, just a bit of different stuff. Gonna finish that Dragon Cancer probably tonight and move on to something new tomorrow, I think.
Once he cries himself to sleep.
Yeah. Well, as soppy as this may sound, last night when I was playing it, and I sort of got to the point where I was so tired that I couldn't do any more. The first thing I did before I went to bed is I actually went down and checked on my boys who were sleeping, and I actually laid down next to my son Ben and fell asleep. So I woke up at about 3 in the morning, sleeping next to him, and I thought, oh, okay, this is not good. I should go to bed. So, yeah, there you go. Anyway, let's talk briefly some news of the week, things that have been going on. So, Imogen, what have we got on the list? What's happening?
Well, I'm going to pick the one that I'm more interested out of that list, which is that Mojang have announced Minecraft Education Edition, which is kind of cool. I don't know much about it, unfortunately, but it's something that I think a lot of people have already been using Minecraft for. A lot of people have been thinking about using Minecraft in sort of a lot of sort of peripheral services to education to sort of encourage kids to concentrate on things, or as a reward, or as sort of team building and that kind of stuff. So it seems like Mojang have heard, and they're going to expand their educational offerings, and it looks like it's going to be free of charge, which is even better.
There is a bit of restriction around who can obtain it, though. Like the licenses are available to people who are actually involved in educational sort of institutes or functions in an official capacity. So I don't think your average, Minecraft player will be able to get it in their home. But yeah, the licensing is pretty cheap. They're looking at only charging sort of $5 per year for each user, which is pretty cheap, really, at the end of the day.
What you're saying is I have to go buy it.
Yeah, well, you will most likely qualify due to your profession. So
working in education, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So it was actually a bit of a third-party project that created this whole thing, and it's built on the basic Minecraft environment and game as it stands, and I'm expecting that this is probably not survival mode. This will probably be just, the Minecraft creative environment. For the most part.
Teach people about creepers.
Killing zombies and that sort of thing.
Always watch out for creepers, kids.
Yeah. But, it's supposed to be teaching things like, art and physics and, maths and all those sorts of core things. When you think about the way the game's built, it absolutely does touch on a lot of those subjects with the way that you can structure, some of your builds and, resource management and navigation and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah. Oh,
you could sell them a module about viral marketing.
Goddamn chickens.
That's it. Yeah. A bit of an enterprise module. That sounds like a good idea.
We'll start a marketplace.
Yeah. So aside from Minecraft stuff, we've also got the Division, which we're all pretty keen on, I believe, which the beta is kicking off on January 28th, coming up real fast. I've heard this game recently described as closer to Destiny than you think. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, what?
So it could be quite a lot of sort of shooty shoot involved in this one.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. I enjoyed Destiny, but I was expecting something different from the... Oh, maybe I wasn't.
Having watched a few things, it reminds me of like if Metro 2033 or Stalker had sex with Tom Clancy's Siege and made a baby game. This would be it. Like that's what it reminds me of.
Sounds fair.
And so yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I want it to be good. Don't get me wrong, but my hopes are not up.
Yeah.
I won't have my new hard drive by then, so no room on the PC for me to beta. I'll just have to wait and listen to other people's experience.
Voyeur on Mumble.
Yeah. Well, apparently the beta will actually include some of the story-driven missions as well, which is kind of cool. So, that allows for cooperative and competitive play. So you'll be able to experience a bit of that during the beta, get a bit of a feel for how it's actually going to be. So, I'm excited for it. I think I don't know how I feel about betas for games that I'm already really interested in, though, because I kind of want to just experience it in the polished format. How do you guys usually feel about that?
I'm mixed.
I'm mixed too. Depends.
I think sometimes if it's good, and it gives you a taste, then that should be, an early edition, not a beta. But beta suggests that it's broken, and you don't want to play a game and then, you could play it for maybe 6 hours or something, but you're like, oh, but I just hate the way it does X, and you never know if that's a bug they're going to pick up or. And it can colour the way you feel about it. So I don't know. I'm never super keen on betas, and I'll wait for main game releases, but that's a personal choice.
That's fair.
Yeah, see, I would rather have a completely polished Wazmoodle games, but beta releases have their purpose in that they hopefully pick up all those things, so you end up with a nicely polished Wazmoodle game.
They're going to have enough people to do that. They don't need you to do that as well, though.
Oh, no, that's true, but the more people they have on it, the more bugs and glitches and whatnot will get exposed.
You need people of both mindsets.
Yeah, and I agree if it was a closed beta and you had to apply for it, but this particular one, correct me if I'm wrong, all you have to do is pre-order the game and you get access. So the buzz about this game.
Pre-orders again.
There is no point of pre-ordering a digital game. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So you get access to beta by pre-ordering. So not only are you playing a beta, what if you don't enjoy it? What if you think that even without bugs that it's a horrible game? Oh well, you've pre-ordered the game.
I freaking hate this. This is not a beta. This is an advanced access. They need to start calling it this. It is
something else. Yeah.
Access. It's not a freaking beta. You're not testing anything. The game is already at the point where it's going to be released in very, very short order. So you call it what it is. It is advanced access. It is a bonus for pre-orders, and it's not any. Beta indicates that the feedback that people will give is actually going to be taken on board and instigate some sort of substantial change to what they've built. And I don't think that that's going to be true in any meaningful way given the timelines.
What if you consider it to be a server beta though? Like the game itself could be polished and near complete, but stress testing.
Well, that's a server stress test. That's
infrastructure.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, it's not a beta test. It's a server stress test. It's not testing the game itself. It's testing the support mechanism for it.
Yeah, but that's what beta tests do.
Yeah, I disagree.
Alpha tests are the ones where major changes get done to various missions and whatnot. Beta test is where it gets polished up. I'm sure someone on the internet's like, no, sir, you're wrong. And I'm like, yeah, sure, great, I probably am. But that's as far as I'm aware.
I would be super happy. I would be happier with betas if the games that came out after them didn't have problems. But they always do. So it's really difficult to sort of justify. I mean, I get what you're saying. It's just for me personally, I don't want to play a game until it's ready. I also, Heroes of the Storm was an example. I thought, do I do that? But that was an application process, etc. Yeah, no, not for me. And for Division as well, it's not, traditionally my sort of favorite type of game. I know all you guys are going to be playing it, so I'm going to be left behind, but that's okay because I've got WoW to focus on. So that's going to be fine.
Exactly.
Oh, dear.
I'll play something else, yeah.
No, we've just got to successfully drag everybody from Secret World across to Division and complete that transaction, Jamie.
Why can't we have both?
You can't have more than one MMO, Jamie. You can't have.
Because there's only 24 hours in a day.
Oh, I don't like that. Someone needs to fix that.
So,
Go to the planet.
so speaking of things that we probably need more time to dedicate to, how are you all feeling about your Heroes of the Storm practice hours at the moment? Are you ready for the global championship circuit?
Yeah, my dog ate my abilities.
My rabbit ate my mouse.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can't
I
play
could
tonight.
say that
Sorry,
the rabbit
guys.
chewed through my mouse cord, but I got a wireless
There you go.
mouse. Damn it.
So-
Yeah.
I don't know that. Shh, you gave it away.
So anyway, Blizzard has announced details of the 2016 first sort of period for the Heroes of the Storm Global Championship circuit, and they're going to break it up into a seasonal format. And the spring season, which I think is the one that they've just kicked off, there's a fair bit of prize money up for grabs. It's split across all the different regions, and I think that the play period for us is the 28th of January through to the end of February, 28th of Feb. So, does that sound about right? Yeah.
Yeah, but this is different to that other circuit we were talking
28th,
about, isn't
yeah.
it?
No, I think it is one and the same. So, basically, you can get a team together. There's a format that you can follow, which involves like a band structure and a certain number of rounds that are going to be played. There's an event. Actually, no, you might be right. There's a specific event that's taking
No, it's
place
a
at the end of the
separate,
month for us, which may or may not be part of that. I'm not sure.
This is one where there's online qualifiers and then a live final. in Sydney.
It's like a ladder format, sort of qualifier, regional championship situation getting organised. So yeah, there's heaps of information on the BattleNet website. So if you're interested in playing a bit of Heroes of the Storm and have had a bit more experience than perhaps us actually playing against other live human beings, check it out, give it a go.
I think this is going to be one of those games that, we had that esports conversation a couple of episodes ago. I think Heroes of the Storm might be my first foray into some serious sort of esports.
Yeah.
Become like a fan of a team and know their names and I don't know, whatever else that it is that I have to do to be a fan of esports. And maybe I'll learn something. Who knows?
HOTS is really fun
we'll
to watch.
see.
It is really, really fun to watch. I quite enjoy it. So
I hope so, because watching League of Legends is too difficult. There's too many noises and too many explosions.
Well, the thing you've got to remember about Heroes as well is that this is actually, as of the start of 2016, going to be the first full year that it's been out. So it's not actually had an entire year out of beta that people have been playing it yet. It's still a pretty young game.
So what you're saying is we still have time to beat the kids at their own game.
Sure.
No,
No, we are
kids have
too
more time
old.
than you.
Yeah.
Our reflexes are shot.
So on the topic of esports and watching gaming online, so did you guys see the announcement that PewDiePie has launched a new entertainment network, sort of teaming up with such internet celebrities as Markiplier to create what they're calling it Revel Mode.
It's pretty cool.
It's, he's basically the most followed YouTube celebrity on the planet, and creating a network with some of the other most followed YouTube celebrities on the planet. I think it's going to be a juggernaut of no small proportions. Yeah.
Maker Studios is, basically going to end up owning most of YouTube at this rate.
It's very true. And it's the way of the future. It's internet created content is the way, and only just now mainstream television in Europe and in America and in Australia are starting to go, these YouTube shows, we should maybe spend some money on those. And Netflix
The
is
kids,
just
they like the
laughing
internet.
all the way to the bank.
Yeah.
There's even been like crossovers more recently with Netflix nabbing big YouTube stars. So that will start happening with the gaming guys. I mean, Rooster Teeth obviously are such a prime example of that, and the Achievement Hunter guys, and now their movie. Yep. So go figure.
Well, similar to Rooster
Strange
Teeth,
new world.
Revel Mode is going to expand into other sort of non-specific gaming-related things. They're going to produce original series, animations. They want to expand into music, fashion, philanthropy. It's some pretty interesting.
Good job, you got through that word. Good job.
There's some pretty interesting, goals on the plan there. So we'll see what they actually make out of it. But
Money is what they'll make out of it.
Oh yeah, that's
so
true.
much money.
I think that's probably a given.
That YouTube money.
Yep.
Damn tubes.
And last on the list, Hitman. So the very, very famous game featuring Agent, 47 is the guy. Baldy with the barcode on the back of his neck.
Like me.
Yep.
I can cosplay him as him super easy.
Basically, yep. And the recent movie starring Rupert's friend.
Really bad.
Any of you guys
Don't
seen
watch it.
No, not good.
Really bad.
Doesn't that have Zachary Quinto as the villain in it as well, or something?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
I don't know his name.
Anywho, so the game is being rebooted. The Hitman game's been around for quite a while now. This is reaching into the last decade for sure. And the reboot is just going by the name Hitman. And they actually pulled it from pre-order recently, sort of stating that there was going to be a huge change to the game format. And surprise, surprise, it's because they're going to be releasing it as an episodic game. Yay!
Oh man!
But you love episodic gaming, Luke.
It's the blessed.
You give Telltale Games blowjobs every week. You love episodes.
Telltale, I have a love-hate relationship with. I love what they've done recently in terms of shortening the release schedule, but I dislike intensely the release schedule to begin with, if that makes sense.
I'm still laughing.
I'm done. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I mean, Hitman's something I've never had a particularly personal investment with, so I could take it or leave it at this point. But I think it's a worrying trend with this and the Final Fantasy VII remake as well. I mean, what's next? Are we going to see the next AAA Tomb Raider title go episodic?
If they can make more money from it, yes, they will. But that being said, Half-Life tried and failed.
True. We just spent 10 minutes, though, talking about the reason why they've started to do this, which is they used to go through the old model, which was we'll release beta and people can go in there. And then if it's not right, then we go, oh, well, it's a beta. You still paid for it. Ha ha. Now they're going, okay, well, people want finished games. That's fine. We can release the first 25% and we'll release 4 of them at a time. And that way we can keep to a schedule and we can still release a finished game, inverted commas. It's their answer to beta.
Well, once again, that's all well and good if they release a game that is not broken, and that hasn't been the case every time so far. So,
and that suits that sort of structure too. You don't want the narrative butchered for the sake of releasing it piecemeal. I mean, it's not going to work all the time.
Yep. That's exactly right. I mean, Hitman may not be as bad in that regard because each episode is probably going to be a bit more self-contained in terms of being like a job or a hit or a mission that maybe doesn't have quite as strong links to the rest of the episodes as it moves through. I'm sure there'll be a narrative tie between all of them, but it won't be the same as a Telltale game where you're exactly right, Jamie. It'll be like, finishing a chapter of a really good book and not being able to read the next one, or finishing a really, really good book and not being able to read the next one because it's 7 years between novels. Anyway,
back to that, are we?
See, my argument for that is, the modern Sherlock series, where it's essentially 5 mini movies. Is it per
3?
Are they 3?
3.
Yeah.
3, yeah.
Like that. If episodic gaming was done like that, where it's self-contained but referential episodes, that's completely fine. They will probably never do that because that's the ideal world scenario, and I'm being naive. But that's what I'd hope for.
Yeah, it's just a vast contrast between what we're used to what the new standard across a lot of mediums is, especially with straight to Netflix series where they have like an entire season of a show which you can just binge watch in one hit. So you're almost encouraging people to start to expect this all now at one time, mentality, and taking games that they would get all now at one time and splitting it up over multiple months. So yeah,
and if they start doing that with everything, that's going to be too intense.
Yep,
there's things I need to see weeks apart, please.
Yeah, it's going to be a risk too. I mean, you balls up that first episode. If the market's getting flooded with episodic content and people are only willing to commit to one episode before they know more, you could just lose out for the rest of it.
It is a big try before you buy opportunity for a lot of people. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's my lesson learned from the Tales from the Borderlands. I think that if I hadn't bought the whole game, I would not be purchasing the other episodes. So that was my mistake because I enjoyed Minecraft so much.
The flip side is also true. Rather than going, okay, we'll sell 5 $50 games, we sell $25 games, $45 games. That's better. So episodic gaming is less of a hit on the consumer wallet, which is potentially ups the sales a little bit. I don't know. But
it only matches it if the average consumer commits, or the average number that commit to the first are still committing to the last. Like if you...
Well, no, unless it's more attractive because, if people go, well, I wouldn't spend $50 to buy that game, but I could spend $15 and just play the first one and spread it out.
Oh, okay. So
more
just
likely. And then over time. So either it's going to encourage more people to even try that first one because it's just $15. And so rather than, I'm not sure about that game, but I'm not going to spend $60 on it, I'll spend $15 on it. Plus, if they do a great job, then you've got the ability to charge, a third more than you would on a full game because you've spread it out over a period of time.
You reach
people aren't
more
realizing.
people, yeah.
I think it's a really good point, but I think that even more so than the monetary spend, what's value sort of perhaps exceeds that for a lot of people is the time investment. So that incremental time investment rather than having to put a large game on your plate to be consumed in one hit. If people know that they're going to be able to get something that only takes an hour or two to get through and it doesn't disrupt the other large titles that maybe they're playing at the same time, they're going to be much more likely to pick that up instead of, finishing something and waiting for it. So.
Said by a true completionist. Luke.
That's true. That is true.
It does not bother me.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Anyway, let's move on to our topic of the week. And I cannot remember for the life of me who suggested this one. Was it you, Jam?
Nope.
Imogen. Me.
All right. So talk us through it. What are we talking about tonight?
All right, so tonight is a topic that sort of I came up with when Luke first you came and spoke to us about we were going to do a podcast. I thought this would be a great time to talk about these games. We're going to talk about party games. We've done an episode where we talked about games that were good for with your family, for with kids specifically. This is games that are going to be good if you have people over to your house, and we're going to talk about some different games that we would recommend. Some of us have lots of friends who are into games, and that's great. And there's some very specific sort of party games you can play on one screen with multiple controllers, usually on a console. And then there's some other games that we could probably recommend to people who maybe don't have a whole bunch of people who have friends who play games, but they still enjoy it. And it's a great way to sort of, especially if it's, winter and cold and crap outside, it's sometimes a cool way to sort of end your night or, kick off your night, depending on your group of friends, really. Yeah. So we've come up with a list of games that are all same location multiplayer games. So like I said, usually played on one screen or everyone looking at the one screen with multiple controllers or shared controllers. Great for parties or just, you want to come over and a bunch of us will play games or whatever. Yep. So I asked you guys if you could come up with we'll talk about the ones that are good for friends who are into games sort of first. It's probably the good place to start. And I would say that maybe, Luke, is there anything that you would recommend that would be top of your list? If we were all over your house, there would be one video game that you would get us all to play.
Well, the one that I've probably had the most fun with, which I think probably does require people to have a little bit of an interest in video games purely because of the amount of focus and concentration it takes, is actually Guitar Hero and Rock Band. So I've had a lot of fun, like specifically at Jamie's house a number of years ago, actually playing these games with a bunch of our friends. And I think it's actually quite a daunting game for someone who's a non-gamer to pick up, even someone who's into music, because you're not actually playing a real musical instrument. These are still controllers that have a form fit for the function of the game rather than actually playing like a real guitar. Now, there are games that do play a real guitar, and Jamie's tried one of them out recently, which was, what was the name of that one again?
Rocksmith, which I'll also probably be getting in the next month.
Yeah. So.
You actually play the real guitar. It's amazing.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I have never played a guitar really in my life apart from just, mucking around with it, one as opposed to actually playing it like a proper musical instrument. But, whack me in front of a Rock Band game or a Guitar Hero game with that guitar controller and a song that I actually enjoy, and I will have a red hot crack at it because those games are fun as hell. So
they're fantastic.
For non-gamers, I think they're quite intimidating. So
I would have said the opposite. I think that more often than not, I'm at somebody's house and they're not particularly gamers, and the games they have are SingStar, Guitar Hero, those types of things. Or, because for them, they're accessible because they're playing songs they love, and so it's also sort of, I guess it's kind of like a party atmosphere as well because it's music. So I find it interesting that you say that's intimidating because this is the games that I would more likely find in non-gamer households, let's say.
Maybe the
I'd agree with that.
Maybe the difference is the difficulty level. Like I'd see a game like that and I would want to challenge myself with a fairly fast rhythm song and smash it out like I would a video game at a fast pace, whereas someone who's not really a gamer will probably want to try it on the lower difficulty settings.
Or just songs that they like.
Yeah, exactly.
Or just sing along because the later games have the vocal option as well.
But
suits those who don't want to rhythm it up with the button mashing.
The first time I got in front of your copy of Guitar Hero Jam and tried to smash out Through the Fire and the Flames by yeah. Oh my god, that was so fun.
Fabulous. Oh, Try Love Fire.
Yep.
That's a good song.
That's it.
What about you, Jamie? What would be your 4 gamers party game?
4 gamers. One would be Cloudberry Kingdom, I believe, because of the sheer frustration in the later levels. You need to know how to, I guess, read the
Pattern
situation.
recognition?
Yeah, that, and have phenomenal reflexes and timing because, oh my God, all you need to do is get from a platform on the left to a platform on the right. Only one person in the group has to make it, but it gets insanely difficult. The obstacles and the assists you get to navigate the level change, as well as your little power-ups per level. You could have a bit of flying ability one level. You could be extra bouncy the next. Oh, it's a while since I've played.
You can get like the path sort of shown to you.
Yes,
or like
you can
a bouncing ball that you can follow.
You can spend things to make it a little easier for you, but I haven't even seen the most difficult levels, and oh my gosh, the frustration, but the sheer joy when one person in the group makes it to the end of those later levels. It's amazing.
Should play that with Ollie and we'll just win all the time.
Exactly. Not
Those
quite.
Twitch
That
reflexes.
being said, that game, the early levels are completely fine for non-gamers. I've played it with non-gamer unimates and they loved the first levels. It's only really the later levels, like you said, gets really hard. But what sort of party are you having where you're going to get up to level 130 on freaking any sort of game, really?
None that involves any medium of alcohol, that's for sure.
Exactly. And if you've got multiple people, you rotate through, they can try the lower levels the first time as well or whatever. So very rarely are you going to have that sort of thing where you're just sitting down for 3 hours going, let's smash out Cloudberry Kingdom.
Yeah. That's another reason why I think it's an excellent fit for this topic, because you can tailor it much like Guitar Hero to those who are playing it. But, oh my God, the later levels are not for the faint-hearted.
They punch you in the dick. I'm not going to argue there.
So we're safe, Jamie.
I'll punch you in the vajayjay then.
Okay, no.
Okay. No,
another 2 that I have are Castle Crashers and Battle Block Theatre. They are just...
Castle Crashers is fun.
Yeah, that one's... it's a little 2D animation sort of side-scroller where you're fighting monsters, but there's a bit of depth to it because there's a couple of different sort of tracks you can switch between, foreground and background.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Different roles
Now,
and stuff.
question about Castle Crashers. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong because I don't actually know, is that was an Xbox exclusive. Is that right?
I
No, I
don't
played it on
think it is
PlayStation.
anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I've played it on a PlayStation.
You played it on PlayStation. Is it on the current generation of consoles, or was it only on 360?
Don't know,
I played it on
actually.
PS3.
It is on Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS3, Windows, and Mac.
Okay, so it hasn't come to
so
PS4
it's exclusive to
The power of Google.
Okay.
work, Ollie.
Yeah, it's good fun. And Battle Block Theatre, similarly, you're navigating levels, trying to grab collectibles and quickly get through them. Oh, God, it's a while since I've played. I don't know how to describe. Have you played this one, Ollie?
Which one?
The Battle Block Theatre?
A variety of small mini games, be the West. Usually fetch quest style things, so you have to guard your objective while it's capture the flag for the most part.
It's
with a
cute.
twist, usually.
And funny. It's got some excellent humour in it.
That's actually... I'll interrupt here because I'm rude.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'll say with games that work well with non-gamers, like the ones we'll mention here, Battle Block Theatre, Castle Crashers, Cloudberry Kingdom. They have very appealing graphics. They're not serious business-looking games. They're very cute and friendly looking.
Fun. Yeah.
Like, they don't look like your COD Blops or whatever. Like, oh, I'm serious playing online.
Let's everyone play COD Blops. Yeah, that's a good party game.
Yeah, exactly. Well, depending on the party you go to, it might be.
True.
So
That's true.
I won't judge. But I will
think what's
judge.
coming out, interestingly enough, like when I planned this out, we did the whole, for gamers and not for gamers. But I think what's coming out is all of these games are good, probably for both, but the amount of time that you're going to dedicate it to it, the difficulty levels that you apply to it will really sort of amp it up.
Yeah.
So, because I know
Absolutely.
Castle Crashers, I've played with people who enjoy specifically Castle Crashers and they're big fans, and then I've played with people who are not. And the difference is when I played with people who play it a lot, you're upgrading your swords and you're doing all of this and you're working as a team and all of that. Whereas the other one, you just run around like maniacs screaming at each other. I'm like, oh, look what I can do. I can do this green thing and bloop. Having a great time and trying to rescue everybody at the same time. So maybe that's it. Maybe all of these are applicable, but they're going to sort of range. There is maybe some games on this list, though, that would probably be, if they were serious games. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at Worms. Worms is definitely a gamer's game.
I agree. It's an old school game as well. It's a game that a lot of people play from a nostalgia level.
Still cutesy looking and very friendly and like, oh, look at me. And if you have a couple of just like a lot of newbie gamers playing, then yeah, it'll be still quite fun. But that game, that's one thing we should mention actually, is there's nothing worse with these games having a really mixed bag skill level with the people playing.
Yeah.
Because you have people that have never picked up that game controller in their life versus someone who's played 50 hours of that game. That is not a fun game at that point for either party.
True. Depending on whether you enjoy winning or not.
Well, yes, you could be like, I'm winning, brah, look at me, I'm Big Man Smash. No.
So how about you, Ollie? What do you pull out?
My one that I pulled out was Towerfall Ascension.
Oh my gosh, never played that.
It's a really fun little twitchy platformer thing, and I've played it at a couple of sort of gatherings where we had a mixture of non-gamer and gamer people from uni, and yeah, it was great fun. Like everyone sort of got into it a bit because no one had really played it very much, so it was literally how fast do you pick up the game at that point. And yeah, it went down a tree. So you're basically like a little guy that runs around and you shoot people with arrows. Sometimes there's special arrows like that do certain effects, and you only have a limited amount of arrows, so you're constantly resource managing and catching them and whatnot. It's
Wait a minute, is this
really, really
like
fun.
it's little 8-bit and you're only on
one little 16-bit sort of thing. One screen.
Yeah.
If you move off all the way to the left, you appear on the right. Likewise with up and down.
And you can drop down the bottom. Yeah. I have seen this play.
It's really cool, and it does like cool replays of the killing shot, and it balances out whoever's lowest on the ladder gets like shields and whatnot. So it does balance out the game a lot. So if someone is sucking, they do adjust for that.
Yeah. We played a similar game, Jamie, remember, at the Perth Games Festival?
Yeah.
But we could not for the life of us figure out what we were doing.
Yeah, we're pretty rubbish.
Jamie won somehow. We don't know.
I was pressing things.
Yeah. I guess that's it as well. Like if you're playing with a lot of people who play games on a regular basis, then people can use language and help each other out and sort of work things out. They go, oh, it's like this game, and then you start getting it. But yeah, if you're picking up a controller for the first time, especially the Bear Claw Xbox One controller, then it's going to be pretty difficult. I remember, and bearing in mind that, I'm no stranger to playing games, but I remember that first PAX with you guys where we lined up to play Sunset Overdrive, and that was the first time I'd picked up an Xbox controller to play sort of a serious game, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I had a hand cramp by the end of it. So.
Let's say then your hands just deformed.
Yeah, and that's what everyone was saying. Oh, you just have to kind of grab it like a bear claw. So, okay, this is obviously something I do not know about being a PC gamer, but there you go.
The other one I'll mention is Star Wars, actually. So this is the one where you're the narwhal in space.
I've seen it. I haven't played it.
This one looks great.
It is immensely fun. And again, this is a great one for non-gamers and gamers alike because it's just bright and colourful and cheery, and the mechanics are the simplest things on earth.
Okay.
So I recommend
it. Sounds like my type of game. There's a narwhal, it's in space. You have me sold.
Yeah. I chose
a couple as well. one of which I think would probably not be very fun at all. It's a game, it's not quite out yet. It's called Goat Punks. It's an Australian game, and we saw it at PAX. Well, I saw it at PAX. It had me sold. As soon as I walked past it, it's called Goat Punks. That's the start. Second part is it's adorable little goats. And the job is you have one mountain that you're climbing up, versus 3 other people, and you have to get to the top, and you have to spend 30 seconds at the top to win. Of course, all of the other goats are doing things like butting you off the top. If you're up the top, you can drop bombs and different obstacles to stop people climbing back up again. If you get knocked off, you can get knocked all the way down or part way to the bottom, and you have to find your way up. It's not a straight way up. So for me, I would say this would be difficult to play with non-gamers because the screen with a 4-player map gets quite busy. Yep. So there's a lot going on. So it's not like a shared screen like a Cloudberry Kingdom. It's going to be interesting to see it all kind of come out the other end.
The mountain that you're on actually rotates as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, the mountain does rotate as you go up. So that's why I say there's so much going on the screen, and I can just see, there would be a point at which everyone was like, this is all too much, and there's a lot going on right now. Yeah. You have to sort of zoom into your little portion of the screen and do it. The way they had it set up at the PAX demo was every player had their own screen, but, obviously that's not... maybe that's
everyone has 4 TVs lying around.
Exactly. So, but this is due out early 2016. It got greenlit on Steam. I'm pretty sure as a result of its time at PAX, because I also received my free 3D printed goat from Goat Punks as a result of voting for it on Steam, because it is way up my alley in terms of games that I enjoy. So that would be a big recommendation, and I will be grabbing that when that comes out on the Xbox, and we can all come around and battle each other as adorable goats. And you can upgrade your goats and give them like cool hairstyles, and yeah, I'm all about it. The other game that I would have chosen was Bomberman. And Bomberman is just full of nostalgia. I love Bomberman, but I can see how it would be great for new people, but it's a lot. And it's that same thing you were saying, Ollie, is if you've got someone who loves Bomberman and they played it on original consoles, then introducing a new person, lamb to slaughter. And I've played games where you're playing with someone who has like all of the, I played Bomberman Ultra more recently, and they've got all the outfits and they're all ready to go, and you've just got no hope against those people.
Can I say one of my favorite versions of Bomberman is actually Bomberman on the DS, and it's one of those DS games that allows you to actually do the download play. So if you've got a bunch of friends that have DSs but don't have the Bomberman game cartridge, they can actually download it straight from you and play it even if they don't own it, which is just awesome. Yeah, it's so much fun. So
Bomberman's a cute game. If you haven't played it before, it's 4 players or can you play? I think you can play 2 players or 3 players and an AI, but it's always 4 on the screen. You're in a little maze and you have to sort of drop bombs to get to other people, and the game is to be the last one standing. And there's lots of little upgrades. So it is quite a lot to take in, I think, initially. But you could still play a couple of games with someone who was just really keen to give it a go if they were new to gaming. And I think it would be all right, but it might be a bit much. Yeah. All right. Well, there were kind of the more hard-hitting ones. What about everyone's favorite games just generally? These are the ones that are super easily accessible and that we probably have played quite a lot of.
All right. Well, as far as easy access goes, and probably my favorites on, the list that we've discussed, my absolute number one at the moment, and this is from recent history as well, the Jackbox games, the Jackbox party games.
Yeah, they are so good. And so for what you buy, so many different games, so you can run through them. And for anyone who's listening to this podcast who hasn't heard of it, what are you doing?
Yeah. I love Drawful so much. That game is the shit. It is
Drawful
so
is
good.
Great.
Yep.
I really enjoyed Fibbage as well, although I have found that
really like
because
Fibbage.
I've played Fibbage multiple times now, I am getting a lot of repeat questions, so I know the answers.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, so and that's because I've played sort of one particular evening. I know we just played like solid, like a whole bunch. And so when we played at that time at Kate's house, I knew the answers already.
It sounds like you need to pick up Jackbox Party Packs 2, which has Fibbage 2.
The second edition.
New stuff.
But Drawful by far. I mean, Drawful's hilarious because not only do you have, people doing sort of funny answers to questions. So Drawful is a game which is effectively Pictionary. So you get given a phrase or a word at the beginning and everyone draws it and you all play on your own device. So people can use their Androids or Apple phones or whatever you have, Windows phones, and you log on to sort of a server in the background and you submit everything on your own phone. So there's no need for multiple controllers. I've seen it played where you have audience participation as well in the big theaters at some of the conventions. It's just such a great idea, and it is a really easy way to sort of sit down with a group of friends and just have a hilarious time. And some people are so bad at drawing, or when someone sort of just doesn't know how to put it into a thing, and then it comes up, and every time someone's like, I'm sorry, I don't know what I drew.
It's one of the things I love the most about this game, and I haven't played a lot of the Jackbox games, so I don't know if this is true of all of them.
Oh, you're missing out.
Yeah, I definitely need to get through a few more of them. I'm just going to start purchasing them for the next few events that we hold at my place. But I love the accessibility where anyone who's got a smartphone can just like log into the party room for that particular game and just play along on their phone. So you don't need an extra controller. Everyone's got their own personalized device in front of them, which they're familiar with, and can just jump in and play that way. And
and it's a website, not an app too.
Yes,
you don't need to
exactly.
download anything. You just have to put in a code that the game gives you.
it is brilliant. I love it.
So accessible.
A couple of times that we've gone to play it and my phone's sitting on like 1%. No, but I want to play this game. My tip would always be, if you have an iPad, play it on an iPad. Don't try and or a tablet. Don't try and draw on your phone if you have another option. So if you play it with friends and it's your house, and you make sure they all get their phones out and then you get out your iPad, especially if you have the new iPad Pro, you are in the money. You can do a full Mona Lisa on that thing. Yeah,
funny story. I actually have a stylus which is designed for an iPhone, and there's only one thing I would ever use it for, and that's playing Drawful.
No, I outlaw all styluses. It's so much fun just finger drawing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or before people realise that you can't delete.
Yeah.
My finger slipped. There's a smoosh all across.
Of all time was, we played a game and it was at Kate's house and there was a bunch of us there, and I think we've been playing board games all afternoon, and this was our way to sort of zone out and not pay attention to what we were doing. And there was a picture, and it was a clock cut in half with arrows pointing at it, and everyone was like, half time, or blah blah blah, and then all of these things. And I remember when all of the options, like, because then the descriptions come up and you have to guess which is the right one, and if you choose one that Jamie put out there, then she gets points. So there was one answer that everyone was laughing their ass off to, which was just like half a clock with arrows pointing at it, because obviously we thought someone had just given up and gone, that's what it looks like, blah blah blah. That was the actual answer. That's what they were asked to draw.
The game trolls you. Yep. It's evil. It will misspell things deliberately.
Yeah, I've had things like eating tiny puppies, just random stuff, and then there's like normal stuff like banana, or I don't know. It's great, and the humor behind it is great. You can draw your own avatar, so that gets hilarious when you see it pop up all the time. They're just great. And they also have their own version of bomb disposal game, which is in the new party pack. And I heard from friends who I've played with this before that is, on the high on the to-do list for the next time we catch up, is to play that game, because they really enjoyed it. Played exactly the same as Keep Talking, except utilizing the phone or the iPad as the device.
Yeah. So
clever and really good. We missed out on seeing it played live at PAX, but by all accounts, it was pretty good. So it is not going anywhere, I do not think. And all of the other ones, like Quiplash, is great. There's one with potatoes, pasta potatoes, or something that was also fun. Word Spud, that's the one.
Yeah. Good games.
Yeah, good games. What else?
I think Nintendo as a whole has been pretty good with designing games, of that live, group nature. And the Wii and the Wii U are particularly well designed for that, with just their ease of control and, the games that are a little bit more designed for the younger audience. One of my all-time favourites, which I've played a whole bunch of on Wii, which I believe there's a version out on Wii U now, are the Raven Rabbits games. You ever played those?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So, I mean, it's like a whole bunch of mini games, and you have to do different things during these mini games. Like there's one on the old school Wii Raven Rabbits, where you're basically doing the Indiana Jones temple escape with the giant rolling boulder behind you, and you have to move the controllers up and down rapidly to try and run as fast as you can and escape the boulder. And if you get crushed by it, you lose, but the person who's furthest ahead gets the most points. There's one where you're actually on the shores of a Japanese river washing clothes, and you're sort of trying to rapidly move the controls to scrub the clothes and hold the controls above your head to sort of see if the clothes are clean.
Oh, God.
So yeah, but the rate at which you scrub, and you have to time it perfectly so that you scrub, and then look at the clothes. Because if you look at the clothes and they're not clean, then you lose time dunking them below the water again and scrubbing more when you could be moving on to the next piece. So there's one where you're actually in actually there's two that are very similar. You're in a classroom or a workplace, and you're basically trying to muck around and throw paper around the place and just generally act up. And you have to stop doing what you're doing as soon as the teacher enters or your boss starts looking around. And if you get caught, then you get penalised. So
that sounds hilarious.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so.
I have not played those games before. I only played the actual platform game that they had. And I only just recently found out they have their own TV show. Like, they have a kids cartoon.
Oh, really?
Just ridiculous.
Did not realize
yeah,
that.
they have their own. So it's just the rabbits. And they don't say words. They just babble at each other. I saw one the other day where they found a van that was like carrying a whole bunch of plungers, and so the whole was about them getting it stuck on different parts of their body and laughing at each other, and it was just ridiculous. It was like watching the Three Stooges, but the rabbits.
That's hilarious. So the one that's out now on Wii U, the publisher's Ubisoft, and it's called Rabbids Land. It's Rabbids, like Rabbids.
Yeah, they're the rabbits, not the rabbits.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think mine would probably be a Killer Instinct or a fighting game, to be honest.
Like your Mortal Kombat, that sort of thing?
Yeah. Or
Street Fighter?
The old one, what's it called? Soul Blade. Oh, that game was good. But having those types of games sort of in your house is kind of fun because you can kind of do the tournament style thing. Maybe they're a little bit not as accessible for everyone because you're not everybody playing together necessarily.
The problem I've got with those games is that they're probably the ones where the difference in skill level is the most telling, because one person being not as good as the other will see them repeatedly get beaten to the curb. So yeah.
Yeah. There was one game that I played that had a mode where it kind of took into account like skill levels. Like you could set how good people were and it would do different things. I cannot for the life of me remember. I just sort of clicked in my head.
Well, there are games with good catch-up mechanics. I mean, Mario Kart's a bit like that. As much as everyone maligns it, the blue shell is actually a really good catch-up mechanic where if someone's getting absolutely smashed in the race, they can just launch a blue shell and then take out the leader. So
plus Mario Kart has rubber banding in it as well.
Yeah, exactly right. So there's only so far you can get pushed behind before the game has a way of catching you up. So
yeah, Baby Park.
Yep.
Love Baby Park.
Yeah, Mario Kart is probably way up there in games. I mean, it's different to racing games. You can't whip out Need for Speed and have a 4-player game.
Forza 4.
Yeah, or something like that. But Mario Kart, almost everybody has heard of or has played before. And it's fun. And like you said, it's got these catch-up mechanics in it, which make it quite easy to play. There's another game that I played so much on the PlayStation 2, probably doesn't exist anymore. So if anyone has a PlayStation 2, look up Muppet Racing. That's hilarious. It's like Mario Kart, but all of the characters from the Muppets. And it has the two old guys in the corner, like yelling at you when you get stuff wrong.
Walled off.
That's
fantastic. Just the best. Oh, you
do like
it.
Muppets.
Yeah. Muppets are my favorite. So that was a game we played many, many hours of in my house. For sure.
Hello,
and then
Frog riding here, racing around the track. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, Kermit Frog here. Yeah, very much so. It was the best. And then wrapping it all up, I spent so many hours of my life playing Burnout, multiple different ones in the Burnout series. And if you haven't played Burnout, it's primarily a driving game. But initially, the whole purpose behind Burnout was that you had a mode where you could drive, and then the purpose was to create as much damage. So you had to try and crash into an intersection at a point where you would cause the most mayhem, and then you pass the controller to the next person, and they try and do a better job.
That's fantastic fun.
Yeah, it was just fun. You didn't really have to think about it, and a lot of it was to do with luck. It wasn't a skill thing because, it was all randomized. There was also a later version of the game where you had to try and run away from the cops and try and do as much cool stuff as you could. So you got points for being the most dangerous, but not necessarily crashing and all of that stuff. So Burnout would be sort of the end of my sort of games. Having said that, none of the games that I've mentioned I currently own in my current place, so I should look at getting some of those, especially Jackbox.
Digital download, Jackbox is an
Exactly
easy
right.
one. Yeah. Sweet. All right, well, good list. I'd like to see if anyone else has any suggestions that we may not have thought of. Send them into mail@partyloaded.com with your favourite live group games, and we'll check them out if it's anything interesting. You can also suggest it for the party game of the month, which we're going to be continuing moving forward. So we've got another 2 weeks to get some game time in with Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Two more weeks of that.
That's it?
Oh, no.
We'll be discussing
It's
that
next
one
week's
soon.
task.
Yeah, that's it. All right, well, let's wind things up then. We've got places to be and Armello games to resume, I believe. So,
Woo!
Yep. You can get hold of it at all the usual places. So at our main blog at www.partyloaded.com. Check us out on Twitter at partyloadedshow, on Facebook, facebook.com/partyloaded. And if you enjoy the show and you haven't already, then you might consider to help us out. Jump onto iTunes and leave us an iTunes review. So every positive iTunes review, helps us a great deal in getting the word out there about the show and attracting some new listeners, and would really help us out a massive deal. So if you do us a solid, that would be great. But that's pretty much it for this week. Send in your ideas for the party game of the month, and otherwise we'll be back again next week with more fun stuff to talk about. So last thoughts, guys. What are you looking forward to this week in gaming? Any outstanding tasks to do? Ollie, you've got only a little bit of holiday time left. How are you going to be spending that?
Yeah, I've only got 2 weeks left. It's just tragic.
I'm sorry I asked.
Damn.
All right. Well, until next time, that's all for tonight, and see you soon.
Bye.
The Party Loaded podcast is a Channel Endgame production. For this and more great gaming content, bookmark channelendgame.com.